Welcome back. Robbie Starbuck, the conservative activist who pushed companies like Tractor Supply and Lowe's to abandon their DEI initiatives, now preparing a new list of companies to target after he said President-elect Trump's election victory was a referendum on wokeness. Joining me now is PublicSquare founder and CEO Michael Seifert. PublicSquare is an online marketplace that bills itself as anti-woke, features businesses and products. It says respect traditional American values. Michael, do you agree with that this was a referendum on anti-woke?
Good morning, Maria. I absolutely do. In fact, I think that the last 10 days have been a wake-up call for the corporate establishment in America that the new incoming administration has a mandate to embrace common sense, meritocracy, excellence, and that corporate America should carry that same mandate as well. The American people have spoken loud and clear. We no longer want to be lectured about social issues when we are simply trying to engage in our communities or in our companies. And you mentioned Robbie Starbuck. He's done a fantastic job of putting pressure on the companies that have been a part of leading the charge for wokeness. These companies that Robbie has actually pushed for change represent over 1 million employees and almost $1 trillion in market cap. So while Robbie is fighting the good fight to force change in corporate boardrooms, getting companies to no longer fund DEI initiatives, we're trying to highlight the companies that people should feel confident going to, knowing that they're spending their money in a way that will not infringe upon their values, but actually in a way that supports the American small businesses that have made this country such a special place in the first place.
So do you think we're seeing a pivot in corporate America? I mean, that companies, large corporations will now resist going woke after this election victory from Trump?
Maria, I do. I feel very confident about that, actually. I think that corporate boardrooms around this country right now are looking at the election results as a bellwether for what they can expect if their companies continue to pursue a path of social engineering in the workforce. I think corporate CEOs are taking actions to remove diversity officers and needless positions in the company. I think Elon Musk led the charge on this 2 years ago in the purchase of Twitter, where he removed all of the different political functions in the company and saved a bunch of money, got the business operating healthy, and actually created a better service than Twitter ever was before. So I think between Robbie's efforts, the election results, certain corporate leaders taking a stand, all of a sudden, Maria, you're feeling confident in Silicon Valley to express your more conservative or traditional political views. There's this entire tide changing, and I'm here for it. And I think any company that stands against it is going to find themselves on the losing side of that argument.
Yeah, that's great analysis. You know, Cheryl, jump in here because it's true. An election sets the tone. The White House sets the tone for everything. You know, you're going to see a shift in corporate America. You're going to see a shift in how people spend their money as a result of the White House setting the tone. That's how it goes.
And look, Donald Trump, his campaign spent millions of dollars on advertisements across this country against what he felt was the wokeness that was happening, in particular with children and with schools, and it resonated and it worked. In fact, Maria, if Harris's own super PAC has come out after the election and said that they saw a 2.7-point shift from Harris over to Trump on the issue of DEI, in particular transgender care with minors. And I want to ask you that, Michael, because I'm wondering if companies are looking at this shift in the electorate and that they're going to take note. I mean, in particular, the Democrats are embracing, puberty-blocking drugs for kids, cross-sex hormones, sometimes surgery. I mean, these are the things that the American public said that they were done with. Parents were infuriated. Do corporations understand that? Do they look at that data when they make decisions?
They absolutely do. I mean, corporations at the end of the day are in the interest of reaching as many consumers as they possibly can. And when the consumers are making their voices loud and clear in the socio-political or even economic environment, it's unwise for a corporation to deny it for too long. Obviously, Bud Light tried it. It didn't work. And so they had to make a drastic pivot, and they're still trying to recover. I think you're exactly right that issues related to our children have especially grieved parents enough to the point where they'll actually initiate and boycotts and switch their consumer spending. So when a company is funding the human rights campaign that actually then goes and endorses gender transition surgery across this country in educational curriculum, it's an absurd notion that a consumer would decide to keep your money with an entity that's sponsoring such an act. Or to take it further, 2 years ago, after the reversal of Roe v. Wade, when 3,000 major companies around the country came out and said that they were going to fund abortion procedures for their employees, it's these types of hyper-politicized actions that the consumers do not want, the employees don't want, and ultimately the investors do not want. And that's the big point I'll drive home here. We used to be a country of shareholder capitalism. It was about what was best for your customers and your shareholders. But over the last 20 to 30 years, we've taken this grand experiment with stakeholder capitalism, factoring in external stakeholders like the climate or marginalized communities. It has not worked. People want to go back to the basics, and I'm excited about it, Maria.
And you've certainly been a beneficiary of this pivot. I mean, PublicSquare has increased its revenue by what, 440% year over year? Tell me about the growth at PublicSquare, what you're doing, and where you see the expansion of growth in the coming years after this Trump victory.
Well, Maria, we definitely feel like we have fresh wind in our sails. You're right. Our revenue has grown over 444% in the first 9 months of this year compared to the same period last year. And a lot of that is due to the fact that we represent an unaddressed market. There is a network of businesses that we represent in our marketplace, over 80,000 strong. And these businesses have been desiring different solutions that don't look like Amazon. They actually want a marketplace and payment solutions that will embrace their communities and help an American small business thrive that's not going to sell them out and steal their data in the process. And so I'll tell you, Maria, what's next for us as we move forward, we're looking at how we can actually assist the American small business community with valuable transaction infrastructure that will keep their customers' data safe and give them a cancel-proof promise. Because while we've had a major political victory in the last 10 days, now we got to go capture a financial victory by helping businesses that have long been forgotten by major financial institutions. So that's our mission, and we're onward and upward.
All right, Michael, we'll be watching your work. Thanks so much for being here. Michael Seifert, PublicSquare, this morning. Stay with us. We'll be right back.